Hello guys, and welcome back to Strategic Command World War II World at War with our Axis playthrough. In the last episode, we moved on to July 31st, 1942. We took some actions in Japan, but most of that turn still has to go on. But of course, we will look at the main front, the front that will bring us victory, the German front against the USSR. We have captured Moscow, the capital has been moved to Kubyshev, and we're surrounding Stalingrad. So many Russians have evacuated this area now that Moscow has fallen, but a decent amount have also stayed behind, as well as this Guards heavy tank and 3 anti-tanks suddenly appeared over here recently as well. We got this tank coming up behind our rear as well, and I do plan to do something about it. It's going to be weirdly placed, however, because right here is as far as I can get in that direction right now, so we'll see how that goes. So here's what we're going to do. This already isn't going anywhere anytime too soon. We still have some strong Soviets to take care of. So we're going to bombard this enemy Third Army with both of our shells, dealing 1 damage, as well as reducing its entrenchment from max to nothing, which allows us to definitely deal a lot of damage. We also want to know what's down here. So naturally, this one's going to be headed down this way. Let's take a look. Only a garrison. We run right up to it. It's going to be pretty easy to kill. However, unfortunately, none of our bombers are in range. And I forget if you can fly and then bomb. I don't think you can. Unfortunately, not one of my bombers is positioned to actually assist in an eastward push, meaning every single one of them, well, they could move, but generally speaking, should probably focus on assisting this fight here and maybe just shifting a little bit, because the troops are going to have to do just that, shift, and the sooner we can kill a lot of these guys, the better. I'm going to focus the 2 newer bombers down the center, namely on this Third Army that we've already kind of weakened. I want to weaken it more. Still no enemy fighter. Oh, and we got some experience. Okay. Now we're not projected to take damage, and we are projected to kill the opponent. I think I can roll with that. So let's go ahead and attack with the 1st German Army, dealing 5 damage, outperforming and taking no damage. The 3rd Army will go ahead and join in the attack, dealing 3 damage, taking 1. I knew something like that would happen, man. Ugh. And we'll have Moscow 2 next turn. I'll send the better supplied, well, the better strengthed group across, because its supply here is not too well. It'll actually be better over here once it's closer to Rommel. Our tactical bomber here can move at least a little bit, not very far, but a little bit, so we'll shift it as far east as it can currently get. This rifle corps is going to be another big thing in my way. It's just a corps. The main thing that's going to be a problem is probably actually this army. This corps can get mostly obliterated by everything already around it. So we'll take the stronger bombers and we'll use them on the army. That is probably the most important thing. Taking no damage, dealing no damage, but really obliterating their readiness and morale. We could get it into a bit more of a damageable state if I went ahead and bombed it again instead of focusing on the rifle corps. There's armies and other things here that might be able to move up in place instead. There's many things that can reach this corps one way or another, prepared attack or not. So yeah, let's take the other bomber, focus it on the enemy army. There was 2 main armies defending around Moscow. Now by the end of this, there doesn't need to be any. All of our lower bombers here have done something now, so we're of course going to want to find opportunities to shift them over. How is supply over here? We're going to need to shift another HQ up towards Ryazan at some point. This one can actually reach Ryazan if we can clear the area around it. That would definitely help supply. It would boost the supply, namely coming from Ryazak, and push it down this road a little bit better. Because I do want to upgrade this, but it's in the way. You can't stack air and land units, unfortunately, so this is just simply in the way. The best thing to do then, theoretically, would be to get it out of the way, or even to shift it down here as a defensive unit while it goes through upgrades and whatnot, and the 5th Corps instead goes east. Let's now take this 2nd Corps and attack the enemy Corps here, dealing 4 damage, taking none. Okay, it's about what I'd hoped for. Trying again, dealing 2 damage, taking 1, so we got an overperformer and an underperformer. Overachiever, underachiever. This one's going to be fun right here. It's not going to be as simple as just moving an army up because of its zone of control. Tanks can reach it. Maybe a single tank can reach it, but tanks can reach it. 2, 4, action points 5, action points 6 on this one. 5, 6. They can just kind of break right in there, huh? So long as we have a road going up to it. At least that's what it looks like, given that it's hovering green here. Let's do what I said earlier, move the 5th Corps east, move this Corps south, where it'll get a chance to kind of recover fully. This allows me to do things like moving this Corps down and out of the way, somewhere it could potentially get some upgrades in as well. At some point, we can move the 4th Army all the way up into here. I don't know. I guess because it's on a road. Okay, that's a pretty important thing to do, I believe. So we're going to move that up. So it's now bordering this. That's a pretty important thing to do. This recon does not need to be the thing here that participates in attacking this. Definitely a tank would be a better option. I also need to end up moving these fighters. I'm just trying to organize how they're going to get to where they're going to get to. This one can probably move over another hex, I imagine. I just get this fighter right here out of the way. Getting it out of the way is going to be the fun part. I guess we'll just move it over here for right now. Should be safe enough. Move this bomber here. And then these fighters need to move as well. Maybe not all the way, just, you know, enough out of the way. So let's just do right down here and right down here for now. And they'll be able to move a little bit more, so long as I can figure out somewhere to put them. We got this Corps did its attack, come form like a little wall here for the time being. 8th Army can move forward and finish this off for me pretty decent. Oh, or not. I was gonna say, finish it off for me in a pretty convenient way, and would you look at that? That's not convenient at all. You didn't finish it off at all. I was just gonna upgrade this army, but there really shouldn't be any harm if I just push it up and use it as a final tap to destroy that Corps. No damage taken, no real harm done at all. It will have its chance to upgrade next turn, and attacking without its additional elite reinforcement or anything doesn't seem like it will bring it any harm at all. Let's move the Africa Corps tank forward across the river. Yeah, that looks like a pretty good attack to do if you ask me. We got 2 different targets we could go for potentially, but we won't need them both. The recon will come down and around this way for right now. The tank is gonna go, either tank can go, but let's go with this one. This one's like elite. Right over here, where we can deal tons of damage. Let's go ahead and attack the enemy 16th Army from the west from Moscow. 4 damage dealt, 1 taken, of course, right? 4 damage dealt, none taken, and we could finish it off with the recon, apparently. There you go. Enemy dead. Just like that, which means we do have the capability to go for this enemy tank here as well. I'm not quite sure how much I want to do that, but I think I will. This one can't reinforce at all. We're going to move this up across the river here, because we're also going to remove, remember, von Kukler is going to go up to Ryazan. Now, if we look at how that affects supply, over here, of course, is going to be much worse. So there's going to need to be some movements there for sure. We could also move von Bach over east. Moscow doesn't make that much supply just yet, but it will. Now that we've cleared out some space, I want to get some of these anti-tanks moving up. So let's get the 3rd anti-tank here to operate it right around here. And I don't know if that'll be enough. We have more enemy tanks up here, so I guess I'll send 2 of them up in that direction. They're going to end up grouped around here because I'm going to move this one down south, realistically, since there's another one right here. If it decides to go any further east, it's making a mistake, you know. And then we'll kind of reform, preparing a defensive line and moving one to the east to deal with potentially this tank. I'll figure out where this one is going. It might just go up there as well. I don't see any other tanks to deal with. Certainly there's none down here. There probably isn't any over here either. And now, while this bomber's not staying here, this is the only bomber that hasn't done any attacks yet. So it is going to attack, namely, it's going to attack this anti-tank. It could attack this tank, but it's going to attack the anti-tank. We have interceptors, finally. We have escorts as well. I was ready for this. I knew there might still be some. Looks like we dealt something like 4 damage, another 2 damage dealt, 3 to the enemy target, and none taken to any of my planes. That is the most fucked up I've ever seen them get in a time where they ran an escort. Let's go ahead and run this bomber southeast. It'll be safe where it is. Maybe not perfectly safe, but safe nonetheless. I was gonna get this guy here set up to reinforce, and I might still, I'm not sure. If this guy actually made it this far, I mean, he would just get blown up by anti-tanks, so I guess it's not that big a deal. I was gonna reinforce him. Let's reinforce him. There you go, he's reinforced. Oh, that's right, I was just gonna move this down. You know, thinking about it, I don't really need to put anything here right now. The more I think about it. I mean, what's it gonna do? Run into 2 anti-tanks? Potentially 3 if I send another one? That wouldn't be very smart of it, now would it? Now, I'll move this core forward here towards the anti-tank because it's gonna be relevant. I was gonna just kind of boost it up, but I'm not really going to do that anymore, as just defeating this is kind of my main goal. These things have a action point limit of 4. Okay, that affects where I'll move this tank. They could theoretically reach to about roughly here, so this tank cannot move up there. It can, right? It's super upgraded, and these are all not. Let's attack with the paratroopers first. They have a prepared attack. 5 damage dealt, 1 taken. It's about what I expected. Let's attack with the core. Shattered. And we have destroyed one of the anti-tanks. I'm going to move the paratroopers back now into a better location, which just so happens to be right here, it seems. These tanks will probably just have a transit. The anti-tank could move forward and attack. But, given they would have to do a blitz attack against a level 3 tank. So I think it is actually probably pretty an okay idea to come right here and wipe out this enemy garrison on Vladimir. Just kind of take the chance to eliminate that right then and there. The 10th Army, what's supply going to be like here soon? It's probably not going to be too great if I end up going ahead and like moving von Bock over, but there will be more movement all the same. This RD is probably going to need to be operated. It's not going to be needed over here. We can't operate it till next turn anyways, but it's going to end up somewhere over here as far as we can get it on the rail line. I'll move the HQ forward. I'm not sure how forward. I'll move the paratrooper forward to here. Get rid of that enemy fortification. Move the HQ. Actually, the HQ can like reach Moscow right now. I didn't know that. Oh, well, the more you know. Right? The more you know. Does this have mobility? It does, doesn't it? Yeah, this has mobility. Oh, well that helps. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, so it could move from right there if it wanted to. Let's get von Bock moved over. Let's move von Rundstedt down. How does that affect supply? It affects it in such a way that the RD moving forward is probably the best idea. Yeah. Yeah, I do think so. Rommel, I guess, will just stay up here for now. He could go to Moscow at this rate. Just not this turn. Or they both could and just push through a more northern route while these 3 push here. Not to mention, we got a new one, von Manstein. I recruited this guy a while ago. He's going to need to be operated, but honestly, I could really use him on that front, so let's just put him down around like Prague for now. He's on the rail line. That's what really matters. We'll move the RD forward for now, just so it's going to be in a place of better supply. So it should be able to operate, theoretically. I think only the points that you operate from and through need to have a certain supply, so we should be able to travel through here, so long as somewhere like this is at 5 supply. And we would want to be here to initiate an operation, as far as I understand the rules. We do want our push eastwards to be mostly uninhibited, so let's move this tank forward and attack. Dealing 4 damage, taking none. We'll finish it off with the tank. Oh, we've been boosted to like level 2 XP now. That's cool. Step on Penza. Penza is now mine. We are one step closer to our goal. Theoretically, we should be able to see further down there relatively soon from now. And we do have more capacity to move. I do wonder what we can spot if we head up here. It's just our supply lines won't stretch that far. We'll take the aft core tanks here, and we're going to use them to go on the assault. Oh, that was surprising. We're probably going to lose this now. And yeah, oh, there's both of the damage taken that we were supposed to take, but didn't with that lucky first throw. But for only 2 damage and literally no preparation at all, in not the most optimal supply, attacking into a forest with no air or RD support, we have destroyed a mechanized unit. Those are very expensive, as I recall. Playing the allies, yeah, 250, that's as much as an army, and it's dead. So let's reinforce the 10th army as planned, so it's at its base strength. Let's, it's a tough one. Oh, we'll definitely go ahead and move the 14th Army east. It will need to move east. There's not a lot more fighting to be done here. I defeated most of the strong enemy forces. Hell, we're probably going to be able to take Gorky, no problem, I imagine. And honestly, if we could somehow drive up to Gaelic, we would be able to cut off their rail line entirely from everything west of this point. So all this stuff over to their other 2 capitals. That might be worth pursuing, depending on what really ends up happening here. Can upgrade this anti-tank with AA, not a whole lot of point for that, but at least it's doing something. I'm quite happy with where everything else is placed right now. This fighter can move a bit to the east, so it will move a bit to the east. Let's say to right about here. I believe is probably the safest point for it. It's most surrounded by things that would protect it there. I'm gonna send Slovakian Corps here. It's gonna go a little bit north, actually. I was gonna send it down here, but Corps not gonna make a huge amount of difference over here. But up here, I can, number 1, spot that there's an HQ at Gorky. I can see what's at Gorky. Cut this part of the rail line preemptively. Kind of focus on shifting armor east towards the capitals, and focus on maybe more armies or corps, something around here. Things that would do better against anti-tank. Minus maybe something to deal with the tanks themselves. Although that was very vulnerable to air power, I noticed while I was looking at it. These tactical bombers can move not very far, but far enough. I just kind of want to go this way, but that's not going to be probably the best idea. We're just going to move up northeast instead for right now. This area is pretty much safe, so we'll shift this fighter onto the road. We'll shift this corps onto the road as a little bit of a defensive fixture. We have so many fighters based all out of this one zone. I'm like a little nervous to move any more over there. I feel like we don't really need to do that. So I'll leave 1 close by, enough to this bomber to protect it, just in case. Maybe actually move up even closer, like behind Moscow. Or maybe even just leave 1 just up here in general, like right next to Kalinin, until we know that this bomber is coming down. So yeah, let me just move this one back up here. Not over here, of course. And then if we go ahead and we shift this corps down south onto the road, then we've moved everything that's going to move up here. Might be an upgrade, maybe to pass on the HQ, but that's most of the work done. Now, down here, we have enough troops to spread out pretty well, and even more incoming, so let's see here. I am going to move this tank up this way. Hungarian tanks can move up towards Voronezh, because I believe the Hungarians should probably just shift up there. You know, we got the Romanians coming in hot in the rear. Let's move the Romanian HQ up to Stalino. I think that's a good spot. Stalino has a bit more supply than most things. Move the 1st Army up to Melitopol. Let me check the garrisons now that we're moving so much as well. Like everywhere. Are we leaving any points undefended? No, not yet. But soon. Soon we will be. Namely, we're going to need a garrison by Kalinin at some point not too far in the future. So if I find someone to send over there, let's say from Dusseldorf, can operate that. 3 MPPs to get it in the correct area. Let's say right here for right now. So it's in the right zone, at least. Now we can send the second Hungarian army up along the road, let's say. The first, just past the road. And our supply line could be better at that point precisely. I know I was going to move the Hungarian HQ right here. It can't reach there right now. So the Romanian one's coming up behind there anyway. And so I'm wondering if it might just be better to shift the Romanian one here and just leave the Hungarians right behind their troops in order to simply boost supply coming from the Romanian HQ. Either way, the supply coming from right here is already pretty much superior, so let's go ahead and just move the Hungarian HQ just behind their troops. How will that affect supply? I wish I could simulate this stuff. Looks like it'll affect supply really, really well, in fact. So that is really, really good, and I'm quite happy with that. The Hungarians do have their own fighter that I need to deploy. So let's go ahead and just deploy that. We're not going to operate that up to a front. We're just going to fly it over like normal human beings. And so that's good. The Romanians are going to stay closer to this stuff. So maybe just staying at Rostov is fine. Maybe over by Salsk makes more sense if they're just going to be replaced on the northern front here by the Hungarians. So yeah, let's just... But this is such a good spot too, you know? It's got like 6 supply just natively. And it can reach over theoretically as far as it needs to. Theoretically. Somehow this got pushed in at some point. We'll move the Turkish corps up as far as it can get. Reconnect this line. I don't remember how this got disconnected. Like, oh, we have a Turkish fighter already down here too. Duh. Forgot about that. Okay, well that's pretty well placed then. We have one of each of their fighters. If only they could get bombers too. That would be really, really nice. Nice, meaning we could attach to their HQs and that would just work out better. Now that we've reached Stalingrad, we need to actually ready our forces for an assault on Stalingrad, which right now means reinforcing as many forces as we can get, up to 10, and also, well, where possible, handing out elite reinforcements. This one obviously can't do that right now, but it's got pretty nice supply. Hopefully being surrounded by 2 enemies doesn't affect that at all. But we could continue to cut off the enemies here. Yugoslavians are pretty much going to surround and overwhelm. That's the strategy here. What's supply over here? It's 5. It's good enough. Good enough for this unit anyway. Let's move over there. And now we're surrounding kind of this one as well. Just trying to push them out with sheer numbers. Romanian tanks can go ahead and reinforce there. I don't need to force march all the way across here. That's a little ridiculous in a way. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to run the second Turkish army up there. We ideally just want to get onto the rail line. That's kind of like the most important thing here. We can't all do that, unfortunately. Ah, no, we kind of can, actually. If one of them goes up here, one army, the corps goes here, the HQ just goes as far as it can get for right now. We can get into areas with supply, reinforce, recover, and then operate everybody up to here, including just operating the HQ right on top of the town, preparing the Turks to move up in just generally this direction, because the front is otherwise going to be full by other things. Seems like a solid enough plan to me. So looking over into the Atlantic for Germany's turn, we got a lot of subs spread around, and this one apparently showed up to the wrong neighborhood. And it is fucking ridiculous. We're just completely surrounded. They haven't done anything. So, like, I don't know. So long as we don't go under the ship, I don't think we get hurt. Let's put that theory to the test. Oh god, there's more of them. How many fucking ships are here? What is this? Dude, this is like an entire fleet. This is absolute insanity. Alright, go up here. As long as I don't move under them, they can't do anything. And they're clearly afraid to try to hit me. I don't know why, actually. Like they're like surprisingly afraid to try to hit me. We're definitely reinforcing this Italian sub, Leonardo da Vinci. We're definitely reinforcing the U-81. They're only bombing the weakened Italian ships, I noticed. Let's move this one a little bit south, a little bit down the line here, and end it right over there. So it's in a slightly different position. With its limited supply, at least it could do some raiding on that line. Let's move this one up And down the line similarly, till it ends up somewhere a little bit different as well. We have the U-35, which can head somewhere. I'm afraid to head it anywhere at this point. I mean, look at what I'm dealing with. We'll head it right over here, next to another enemy sub. Jesus Christ. All right, move over there. You'll technically be out of sight. They have so many destroyers. This is ridiculous. I just want to pop these fucking heavy cruisers out and do some damage. Like, I'm tempted to just get my surface fleet and go over there, but like, oh god, it's not enough. And my sheer focus on land makes it hard to strike out in any other way, except for like letting them hurt themselves on me, because they're still not reinforcing their ships. They're taking damage, and then they're just running around in circles and trying to get me to dive. That's it. But we're definitely doing more damage regardless of that. So I'm happy about that at least. You will be moved down into this port to get some reinforcements, and you get your advanced sub upgrade. This sub is going to get its advanced sub upgrade. Gonna need to move this Italian one out of here. The Italian ones we're gonna hang out around south primarily, so we're just gonna head south with that one, because they're gonna just hang out around this zone, raid things coming up from there. They're not too needed over here. Those are good. Those are moved. We have the U-73, which can go and just strike right out pretty much in this direction, raid the UK USSR line. Finally, something needs to raid that, especially in the middle of the fucking summer, dude. The U-32 is completely upgraded, elite reinforcements, you name it. We're going to send it as far up north here as we can get it. We can get a upgrade on the U-37. Upgrade advanced subs, level 2. I'll take that. Looking under the losses for the USSR, they have not lost a sub. They have not. There's America, but still, they have not lost a sub. So that sub is still alive. The one that was over here, don't know where it got to. Don't know if it could have gotten down here, but we'll send the Z2 just kind of down here looking for it. Don't know if it could have really gotten very far at all. It's hard to tell. We know it's not around here. I think it came just straight down south, so it would have had to kind of try to reach out around here. Don't know if we can spot them when they come next to us while we're in port. Honestly. Let's sail out to right about here. Found it! Ooh, I found it. Ow! It attacked us. We took 1 damage and then it died. So did it choose to attack us, or did we choose to attack it? How exactly did that work? We need to put this in a port so that this battleship doesn't come and fucking curb stomp us. So we're gonna move the battlecruiser over here. We're gonna move the Z-31 here where it'll be safe for now. As far as I'm aware, that's the only sub they had. At least that's the only one they seem to be using. So I believe we can start shifting back down south. This one's already moved a little bit out, but we'd probably be pretty safe to just come down here like so, and then send the other ships after it. We could probably full sail this one. That's what I'm calling it now. Full sail. This battle cruiser all the way down over here. And then the heavy cruisers can probably do the same. Ending up one in Lubeck and one Prince Eugen in Copenhagen. And so they should be good. This battle cruiser can't go fully all the way down there, but Bismarck can say move down here. This battle cruiser can move down here. Battleship can move hither. This destroyer will have ample capability to escape to somewhere safer. And now that the submarine threat is done, we could probably take this maritime bomber, set it to raider mode. And then if we move it up here, I believe not only will we keep in supply, but put it there, and then we have a range. We have a strike range of 12. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. We'll be in range to raid the enemy convoy line with this bomber while also being close enough to raid anything that might come over here. And with that, I might still, I have to spend points as Germany. I think still that this is a nice full episode. So I hope you guys have enjoyed how this is going. Good progress. I've never been happier with this playthrough than I am at this point of the playthrough. So thank you guys very much for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.